What is going on, World Mobile Nation? Welcome to Dap Central, your home for everything blockchain and crypto, especially when it comes to the WMT ecosystem. My name is Fareed. Welcome to our bi weekly live streams where I'm joined by two of my favorite co hosts to dive into all the latest news and updates surrounding World Mobile, aiming to be the leader in the DePIN ecosystem. Let me go ahead and bring up the guest for today's show. First, we've got Rob LLAP. Welcome aboard. How are you?
Hello, hello. It's good to see you. How's it going?
I'm great. I'm great. I was just explaining to you guys backstage that this is actually like my fourth interaction here when it comes to content. So I'm nice and warmed up. Typically, this is like my first interaction where I'm just turning on the camera. But today I'm feeling good. I've got my LaCroix ready to go, and I'm ready to talk about World Mobile, man. How are you doing?
Good, good. As long as this isn't your fourth thing that you're doing or whatever, and you're worn out, we want you warmed up, not worn out.
Yeah, no, trust me, man. I'm warmed up, ready to go, firing on all cylinders. Let's go ahead and bring up our second co-host, Clover Nose. Welcome, man. How are you?
Hey guys, doing good. Good to see both of you.
Likewise, likewise. I'm excited. There's been so many updates going on here. For anybody who's just tuning in for the very first time here, both of these awesome members are World Mobile ambassadors. Make sure to go ahead and follow them. I've got the official links to the Twitter down below. As a part of today's video, we're going to be talking about everything, right? From WMT scan. We have some interesting alpha with Opban upcoming right around the corner. There's been some emails for early access that have just gone out. We have some interesting listings and a potential mistake, which I also want to dive into, as well as some other alpha, which has been teased out by Mickey Watkins, the founder of World Mobile. So, where do you guys maybe want to jump in first? Because typically, I know we start off with WMT scan. Let's kind of maybe just shake things up a little bit. Maybe you guys can kind of drive a little bit of the direction. But are there any sort of standout topics that you guys want to kind of begin with as we get started into the stream?
Probably
you,
scam for points.
Okay.
I think
All
that's
right.
that's a good
a big one.
first topic that we should go into. That was a pretty big announcement this week, so very exciting. I think everyone's been waiting for that. So
Yeah, that's been a huge talking point. And as I prepare just some of the notes that I have surrounding Scan for Points, I want to just give the community a quick shout out. So we have Beamnode tuning in. Beamnode's been a huge supporter here, always tuning in. We've got John, DCA, DCA. This appears to be the last opportunity that you may have to DCA before the actual full bull market begins. We've also got Wave Notes, who was actually kind enough to let me know that I had put down the wrong date on the live stream here. I put yesterday's date instead of today's date. So Wave Notes, thank you for always tuning in and keeping me sharp there and on my toes. We've got Jeff, who's also a fellow ENO tuning in here. Welcome aboard, Jeff. Thank you for always showing up and supporting. We've got Noms, yes or no. You're definitely not too late. We've got Earth Path, SF Zip, and just a few others who are also just kind of lining up. So jumping into today's show, as Clover mentioned, we just had the release of the leaderboards for Scan for Points. I know Rob has gone well out of his way to actually purchase a Google Pixel, right? So maybe we come over to you, Rob, first, and then Clover will come to you second. But how has been your experience? Number one, just downloading, the actual Scan for Points app or the global application, I should say. And then number two, how are you liking Scan for Points so far? I've been seeing a lot of competition with, I want to say it was Hydrex, who's maybe at number one. And last time I saw, Rob, you were maybe at like number four, number five. So give us the beans there. How's everything been so far for you with respect to Scan for Points?
So little clarification there. Hydrex, actually, I'll let Cal go into this more, but Hydrex, that was a Photoshop on something that Cal did. And so Hydrex is playing with us. No, I'm not number four. I was top 40. I originally when it came out, I woke up and I was actually on my phone. I was on the X app, and I get a notification for World Mobile and WMT token. So anytime that any of the official accounts post, I get a little header on my phone, and so I'm sitting there just scrolling through things, and the header pops up that it's live, and I immediately ran up the stairs to get my World Mobile phone because I don't have it. There's no connectivity otherwise. It's a phone. There's no SIM, there's no data plan, there's nothing, no phone number connected to it. And I ran up and I checked it, and I was number 35. And then some updates came, and they said, every 48 hours things will get updated for you if you're still scanning. And so I'm actually sitting at number 31 right now. But I did start late. I started late because I have an iPhone. And so I decided after talking to Cal in Las Vegas, because Cal actually drove to Vegas from where he's at in California, and he was scanning the whole way. And so that inspired me to go get a Google Pixel 5. It cost me like $160 on Amazon. I think it was refurbished. But just something that I didn't have an Android, so something that I could download and start doing this. And I've been scanning my area. I actually have a really good area for some things I've told the team about, and for as far as air nodes go at some point. And so I started scanning, and it works. It's smooth. The biggest problem I have with the app right now, and maybe this is a user error thing, but I added just a regular password, and the password is different on the Android than it is on the iPhone as far as access to it. It's smaller numbers, so it's like every 15 minutes you have to reset the app, or reset the scan. But your phone locks, so then you got to do the password on the phone. But then the app locks, so then you're trying to drive down the road. I'm a police officer. I probably shouldn't be saying this, but I got to open up the phone again, then I got to open up the app again, and then hit start scan again every 15 minutes. And sometimes you forget, and you take a 45-minute drive somewhere, and you've only scanned once because you forgot and it shut off. So that's been my thing. I don't know if there's a way to either turn off the password or somehow simplify it once it's in there. So if anyone's listening that has some more experience on that, maybe let me know. Or if the team is listening and you can't change it, maybe that's a feature that you should be able to change. But it's worked just fine. What's nice is you can restore it, your app, a couple of different ways, and one of them is if you actually do a did for it, and then you can restore it just like you could a crypto wallet somewhere, or a ledger or a Trezor. You have your 24-word seed phrase. And so my plan is, once the iOS comes out, I don't think I need to get a second did or a second app or a second account for it. What I'll do is I'll transfer over my did and restore it on the iPhone. And then I'll have this Google Pixel 5 that will be ready for these nodes that will be able to upload and scan that we talked about. I'm not sure if this is the Unity node they're talking about with Minutes Network as well, or if this is the separate thing that Mickey was talking about, where you actually have run a node off of your phone. But it's going to be an Android only. And so if my phone, it's not the most powerful phone, but if it's a phone that can handle that, then absolutely. And so I'd encourage people that if they do have an iPhone and they want to get involved long term with World Mobile, go to the eSIM website. And this is just a good indicator for the types of phones that you can get that will handle the eSIM, because I believe if your phone can handle the eSIM from World Mobile, it absolutely should be able to handle these new cell phone nodes that World Mobile will be putting out here in the next few months. So if you're able to do that, scan for points now, get it to scan for points now, and then once it switches over to the iOS app, switch it to your iPhone. If that's what you're holding out for, get it now, switch to your iPhone, and then you have this phone ready to flash, ready to do whatever you need to do to run a cell phone node from World Mobile. So there's some opportunities to get involved. Like I said, on this website here, there's actually a list of the types of phones that will support the eSIM. If it supports the eSIM, it's going to support the mobile app. If it supports the mobile app, it should, in theory, support the coming nodes for the cell phones.
Thank you for the introduction and just breakdown of your experience so far when it comes to the scan for points feature. I will say, Rob, let me see if I can actually get this up on the screen here. I had to knock some dust off of this thing. I've got this little Samsung phone. Now, crazy enough, I tried my best. It's been so long since I've used it. I set a password on it. and I can't even unlock the phone for me to get in there. So the only thing I can do as it stands right now is literally use it as a camera, but then I've got to like plug it in to take any data off of it. So I'm actively working to find a way to like hard reset this phone as soon as I will be jumping back into Scan for Points and obviously playing catch up, as everybody that I've seen so far utilizing it has been super competitive. I saw a lot of people posting about skating for points before the leaderboards, and that has like quadrupled since this feature has gone live. Now, I want to go ahead and turn it over to Clover to kind of give us his perspective surrounding Scan for Points. And then we're going to jump into some speculation here. Now, before I turn it over to Clover Notes, I did just launch a poll here for the viewers who are live. Let me know down below. I believe it's as a part of the chat or the comment section. You should see a poll right now that's asking if you have downloaded the global application, which obviously is only available on Android, and have you actually taken a shot at skating for points. Right now, looking at the results, it's right at 50%. We have now yes taking a lead. So we'll jump back into those poll numbers here in just a second. But Clover, over to you. How's your experience been so far with Scan for Points?
Yeah, it's been really fun going around and scanning like different areas. Um, what I do is I commute to work and with the train actually. I don't drive, and I know that's kind of weird here in LA. Everyone drives, but I'm like one of the very few people that actually commute with the train. So it kind of makes it fun for me to just turn on my phone and scan every time I jump on the train. But just like Rob, I'm actually an iOS user myself, and I had to go out and get an Android phone. And sadly, last weekend I actually dropped my phone, right? And it's kind of like with a broken screen right now, but nonetheless, I'm going around and scanning, man. No broken screen can stop me. Um, but yeah, I'm actually scanning as we're talking right now. I probably scanned my office area like 50 times already. So I don't think I'm getting any points, or I'm getting very minimal points for it. But yeah, I'm I'm definitely scanning. But yeah, the experience has been really good. I mean, scam for points, as a matter of fact, there was just a blog release today, written by Antonio, and Scam for Points, as it says in the blog, is just going to be like a working title. So they're really going to change the name soon. I'm kind of wondering what that name is going to be, and what it's going to say. But yeah, that's very interesting to point out. And then just like you said, Fareed, like seeing the community, people have been scanning everywhere. Like I even saw someone in a cave scanning for points. That was like super fun to see. So yeah, I'm interested to see like the whole gamification side of the things. How people can be rewarded with all of these points. And redeeming like all the benefits and stuff like that. All the discounts that you might possibly get from all these points, possibly even like exchange the points for value added services, or for like maybe a future plan if World Mobile offers that. So in general, it's been a really good experience for me, and in a easy way to get involved with the network. It's a good community driven approach of things, and I would love for it to be evolved a little bit more, like maybe see a map where you've scanned before, and all the areas that have been scanned, so in a way you kind of know where to go and what to scan, and things like that. So there's stuff to be improved in it, but I know this is kind of like a beta version almost, I would say, and then a lot of other features are going to be added, not just the leaderboard, but eventually, like I said, you're going to be able to exchange these points, and go to the shop, and buy gift cards, and also sorts of type of other things. So yeah.
Thank you for that. We do have Wave Nodes. He's flexing on us here. So Wave Nodes, I think it's been scanning quite a bit. Initially started at 11th and is now raced up to 5th. I wonder again who is actually in first place. I'd love to hear if you guys have any insights as to who that is. I'd love to maybe kind of get their perspective and understanding of how often and where they're actually scanning. We do have a question coming in here from Jockey of Crypto, or Round Scan for Points, stating, so do you have to open I'm a little, maybe let me make sure I'm reading that correctly. I think what he's asking is if the app has to be open for you to scan each time. And I think this might go back to what you'd mentioned earlier, Rob. So can you maybe kind of clarify? Because I believe the last time that I tested this, when I first got my hands on it, which was, I want to say, maybe 4 or 5 months ago, the scan itself took about like maybe 8 to 10 minutes. But I believe I was able to start the scan and actually jump out of the app, but I'm not sure if that still stands. Again, I don't have access with my latest phone.
So yeah, the app has to be open to scan it, and you have to actually activate it. If you go back to that screen that you had pulled up earlier with the scan for point picture there, I believe there was the physical image of it. So there it is, right there. You open up to the tab that says scan, and you just tap that button right on the screen that says start scan, and it'll start. There's actually that'll turn to black with a white outline once it's scanning, and there'll be a countdown number in there. And if you hit the button again, it'll stop the scan. It'll give you hey, do you want to stop this scan? It's a 15-minute timer. So to complete that scan, it's going to run for 15 minutes. And again, that's just a set time. It's going to grab whatever, bounce off whatever towers are in the area if you're there. So if you're stationary, it might not really bounce a whole lot. If you're driving 60 miles an hour down the highway, you might hit a number of towers, depending on how big they are and what the range is on them. So it's what it's trying to do is it's not so much, it's going to scan for the area and then stop. It's going to go 15 minutes and pick up whatever it can during that set time frame, and then you have to redo it again. So once and it'll give a little chime or a beep or something when it's done to let you know, unless you have your phone on mute. You'll hear the chime and then you'll just hit it going again. So it's and somebody said that maybe the 15 minutes was a feature on Android itself and something that they just had to incorporate into the app. So there's some speculation maybe we can go a little bit longer on the iOS app. We don't know yet because we haven't seen what that's like yet. I think it's still being tweaked, but for now, yeah, it's 15 minutes. And then you have to go hit the start scan button again.
Thank you for the.
I wanted to jump in there. I think from what I read and from what I've heard from community members, it's a limitation that the Android has in itself with their app. So it's not really like an World Mobile situation where you can only scan for 15 minutes. I think it's like limiting us from Android. So I wonder if maybe we can like root the phone and allow it to just keep on scanning and scanning without that 15-minute limitation. But yeah, I've been scanning without internet at all. Like since this is like my secondary phone and I don't have a service provider on it, I just go around and I don't even have internet connectivity. I just scan areas. And I assume once I get to a Wi-Fi location, it just passes the data to World Mobile, and then I get my points after that. So you don't even have to have internet to scan places. So it picks up all the signals and the Wi-Fi signals needed, and then once you connect to connectivity somewhere with Wi-Fi internet, then you pass that info to World Mobile. So just so people know.
That's a really good point that you raised there. I didn't realize you could actually scan offline. I think I also want to reiterate one thing that you mentioned there earlier too, Clover, with scanning the same area multiple times, right? I wonder if you're still getting the same amount of rewards, or if you scan an area that's been scanned by somebody else, if there's some sort of reduction in the reward. So I think my question here for the Word Mobile team would just be to maybe just how do they come about rewarding the community, and maybe showing us on the back end how they're able to figure out, how many points go out per scan. Is that based off of the length of the scan, the location of the scan, the time of the day? Because I'm sure that there's plenty of different factors that play into this, but I'd love to be able to kind of get a inner look at how they're coming up with those actual things. Now, we do have a couple of questions here before we move the topic into the next section. And this is coming in from Jason Fisher. So any plans to earn WMT through scanning? Again, correct me if I'm wrong here, guys, because we did have Rick Middleton on and we had discussed, I believe, this particular thing. And right now, as it stands, there hasn't been any official confirmation from the team, but I believe that those points can be converted and utilized for the third-party services. So Jason, at this point, I don't think that you can actually go ahead and do that. We have EarthPath confirming what I've been waiting for, which is the release of the app on iOS. I think that they're going to see a lot more users actually scanning once they release for iOS, just because at least personally in my eyes, I know a lot of more people that utilize Apple as opposed to Android. Nothing against the Android crew, but I'm definitely itching to get my hands on this. And I'll be doing what Rob mentioned, which is to actually recover my account from my old Android phone to make sure that I continue to earn on that account. We have some additional questions coming in here from Nam. So maybe we'll just let the guys chew on this one for a little bit. But he states, do you guys know the security implications for air nodes? This might be a question for the World Mobile team, but how do they prevent node operators from snooping calls and such? I know we typically have Emmanuel, the community manager, on the streams. I haven't seen him here today, but I think this would be a great question for him, unless either one of you guys feel comfortable taking that particular one. And then we have Jockey of Crypto following up with the second question, stating, how does Helium keep running without having to do anything? I definitely think that they're doing something. Whether or not they're allowing for their community to do those things, I'm not 100% sure on. So again, I'll maybe let Cal and Clover choose which questions they want to touch on. But while they're thinking about that, I do want to quickly go ahead and plug in the fact that I do have an upcoming interview with the man himself, Mr. Telecoms, Mickey Watkins. So if you guys are watching as a part of today's live stream, I'm excited for it for sure. I love what your Mac is doing there for us, Clover, with the fireworks show. But yes, Mickey will be joining me here on the channel to talk about everything World Mobile. If you guys have not seen my prior interviews with him, he's an awesome speaker, very well. He's very well in the loop surrounding what's going on. And if you guys have any questions that you guys would like for me to post to Mickey, now would be the time. Please make sure to go ahead and leave those down in the comment section if you're watching as a part of the replay. But if you're here with us live, please make sure to ask some of your hardest questions. Leave them down below. I'll be picking and choosing which ones obviously provide the most benefit to the general community, and I'll be posting those with Mickey. So definitely stay tuned. That interview will be coming out very, very soon. Now, let's jump into a little bit of speculation. This is my favorite part of these live streams. So, speaking of Mr. Telecoms, he just released this picture. This was about a week ago, and the entire community has been going nuts, speculating as to where we could potentially see the second ever aerostat going live. So, obviously, Mozambique with the bringing telecoms to the sky event was a huge milestone, not just for World Mobile, but just for the continent of Africa and Mozambique specifically as a country. But we now have a tease. Now, Clover and Rob and myself were talking before we actually kicked this live stream off. I recall a while back, right, that the team was doing some testing in New Hampshire and that they'd actually brought over air node infrastructure to begin testing in that particular area. Now, the team has also made it very publicly known that they do have some connections in California. I believe it's at the University of San Diego, right, where they're also working on these quantum antennas, and they're working on just developing infrastructure that could potentially be used by the World Mobile team. Those were two of the initial locations that came to my mind. But putting on my investigator's hat and learning from Rob and Clover here from previous interviews and just tests that we've had, I started to kind of look and take a look at some of the clues here, right? So the biggest one that stood out was the palm trees. Clover took it upon himself to take it a step further and actually post this graphic here, right? So he has basically located some of the areas where palm trees are native to. And I think this kind of narrows the search down a little bit. So for my guess, initially I had mentioned New Hampshire. I don't think that there's palm trees in New Hampshire. So for me personally, that leaves California, but we could have this aerostat be anywhere in any of these locations highlighted here in green. So Clover, maybe we'll turn it over to you first, because again, you kind of took the time to dive a little bit deeper into this. But what are some of your thoughts surrounding where the second aerostat could be?
Well, honestly, when I first saw the picture, I thought it was just an aerostat, the aerostat from Mozambique, because I'm assuming there's palm trees there. So I thought it was just Mickey visiting that site location and taking a picture of the aerostat. But then I started like really thinking and seeing the community engage and interact. And I was like, hold on a second. This aerostat might be a second aerostat, because I remember in the recent AMA, I don't know if you guys paid attention, but they kept on mentioning that there is more aerostats coming very soon in different locations. There's been a lot of countries approaching World Mobile and asking for aerostat launches. So I started thinking to myself, hey, this aerostat might be located somewhere outside of Mozambique. And my personal guess is, obviously I would love to see an aerostat up in Reno. interacting with the current air nodes and just seeing it launch there. So if I can take a wild guess, I'd say it's somewhere around Reno, most likely somewhere around Nevada, just so it acts as a possible, not a backhaul, but it kind of like helps the other air nodes with spreading that connectivity. So that's just my wildest guess. I wish I knew more. I think everyone wishes they know more where it could be, just because it's super super exciting. And to be honest, like I don't think there's any commercial telecommunication aerostat that's ever launched anywhere in the United States or anywhere in the world. Actually, the aerostat that was launched in Mozambique was the very first telecommunication commercially operated aerostat. So if they launch here in the United States, that's pretty major, because so far we've only seen the government launch these aerostats to kind of like control the border and things of that nature. So having a commercially valid, commercial aerostat for telecommunications will be pretty major. So yeah.
Nice, solid guess there. Before I jump over to Rob, I did launch a second poll here for the community. So Rob actually launched a similar poll on his Twitter. And so this is asking the community, where do you guys believe that the second aerostat is located? Number one, or option number one, Southeast Asia. There's also the Caribbean, Southeast or Southwest USA, or South Pacific. So let us know what you guys think down below. In conclusion of that first ever poll, we did have about 58% stating that they had not actually interacted with Scan for Points, and about 40% is saying that they had actually gotten access to the Scan for Points app. Bringing us back to that, I want to quickly highlight what Robin mentioned earlier, right? So if you guys want to go ahead and get access to Scan for Points and you're not necessarily sure what devices are supported, this is the list here that Robin mentioned, which is for the eSIM compatible devices. But I believe that all these devices should also support the global application as well. So jumping back over, Rob, what are your thoughts surrounding the potential location of that second aerostat launch?
So as you stated, I made a poll yesterday on my account, and I tagged. I said, "Where in the World Mobile is Mickey and the World Mobile team?" And the World Mobile account actually picked that up, and they did a cool little AI artwork that says, "Where in the world is Mickey Watkins?" And they like that where in the they like the whole "Where in the World Mobile" thing. They comment on that specifically. I think that might have been Zach Lilly. So if that was, hey Zach. But I thought it was clever, and I liked how they immediately did the AI with it. And then there's over 100 people that have voted on that poll so far. Everyone's kind of guessing, but I mean, obviously there's a palm tree in it, and there's a lot of talk. There's obviously a deployment happening in the United States, kind of in the Southwest area at the moment with Nevada. That's kind of considered the Southwest. There's a lot of talk about the Philippines, so you have kind of your Southeast Asia, and then we've talked about other things. Different island groups. Whether I remember originally they talked about the reason I included all these different things and trying to figure out the right thing. Where are they at? What are they talked about? One of the things they talked about years ago. This is probably close to 2 years ago, if you remember. There's a terrible hurricane that came through and wiped out Puerto Rico. And Mickey got on. This is one of the first talks that they did that I was paying attention to, if I remember right, and talked about, look, we want to have emergency deployment where we can go to an area that's been wiped out by a hurricane and deploy and bring immediate coverage with aerostats and with air nodes. And so we haven't heard them talk about that much lately, but that is absolutely something that they want to do. Is they want to have that kind of emergency setup kit. So if you think about where they've referenced and where they've been, there's already one in Africa. So that's why I didn't include that in the poll. I was trying to speculate for where else. The Caribbean, that's where hurricane season happens, right? And that's coming up soon. I believe that's May through November is hurricane season. We have the Southwest United States, like Cal mentioned, with Reno. We have the Philippines, and then we have the other islands in the South Pacific. So that's where all that came from. Speculation. If you look at the map that Cal very, very cleverly and brilliantly researched and put up, palm tree, right? Palm tree area. So that's I think that's a fair way to go. Twitter or X only allows for four things, so I couldn't put South America on there. So I wasn't trying to let our friends down there feel neglected, but those are the first four that came to mind because those are the first four that they have specifically mentioned as deployment zones for whatever purpose. So that was my poll. That's what I did, and that's I'm not going to speculate further. I will say that I may or may not have received a video phone call from the payload from the aerostat that has been recently deployed. So I don't want to say anymore because I know where it's at. I'm sworn to secrecy.
You can't stop there. You opened it up, man. You got to finish what you started, Rob.
I
did a short video call with a friend who was on site, and that's all I can say.
Well, okay. Short of you not being able to reveal the location, how was the quality of the call? Did you notice anything different, from a regular phone call that you'd receive? Audio, video, etc.
Right. Well, like I said, I have an iPhone, and so I do a lot of my. Sorry, my glasses feel like they're crooked right now. I have an iPhone, so I'm used to doing like FaceTimes, right? This was a Zoom call, so it was over internet, and it was crisp. It was a pure. I mean, I was on Wi-Fi at my house, so I wasn't using just a cellular only option. I was connected to Wi-Fi, but it was clean. There was no hiccups. There was no static. There was no pixelated anything. It was very, very good, and so I had no issues communicating, no issues hearing anything. It was a fantastic call. It's what you'd expect. It's what you'd hope for. We all believe in this project and everything, and so everything is as it should be. As far as I could tell, I did communicate later on, and I just asked about how things went with this initial deployment, and they said the results were fantastic. They're everything they could have hoped for from a team perspective. So very, very encouraged for how they're doing things. They're making things happen, and it's like Mickey was teasing us. That picture, if you look at it, I think that's from the sunroof of a vehicle. It could be an overhead awning, but I think that's the lip of the sunroof or the moonroof right there. Which led me then to ask, and I never got confirmation on, did Mickey take that picture? Is Mickey there? That's where the whole "where in the world is Mickey?" That's where that came from. Is he traveling? Because that looks like a cell phone picture from a car. So lot to be curious about. Lot that I'm hoping that they come out and publicly say. I think, and we know that they will in time. But it's like we've talked about on previous live streams. They're doing things. If Mickey wouldn't have posted that, nobody would have known a thing. Nobody would have had a clue because they're so locked down internally, and they're doing things, and they are 10 steps ahead in every direction, everywhere they're going. And so, Mickey's teasing us there, but if you think about it, they're doing things. They are building. They're not sitting there waiting for the bull market or whatever BS you're going to hear about to make the token price go up, because they're in it for the money. No, they're building. They're doing things. They don't care what's going on market wise. They care about what World Mobile is doing, and that's why they are doing these test runs. That's why they're deploying these things. That's why they are building in areas. And then by the time they come to us with, "Hey guys, by the way, we're doing this," it's been in the works for years. It's been being tested and practiced for months, and they've worked things out, and they're finally deploying it. So very, very exciting to see what they're doing, get a little behind the scenes peek of it. And again, I'm more excited than ever for it.
You're not the only one that's excited. And like I said, I feel like you like halfway opened up the can. So we're just like, you may as well just finish what you started, Rob. So if you ever feel like dropping more alpha on us here, you're more than welcome to. I see that Jeff definitely does appreciate that. We've got Mark tuning in. What is going on? We've got SF asking an interesting question. So again, I'll let some of these simmer and you guys let me know what you guys want to just kind of take. So he asked, how does the internet speed and reliability of an air node or of air node operations compare to MiFi hotspots and Starlink in various environments, urban, rural, and remote? SF, I'm sure that you're not the only person with questions like these. I would love to see case studies being done, by the team to really show us. Because again, I think as more people hear about World Mobile, that's going to be the first thing that they do is compare this to existing service providers or to people taking a very similar model, right? To providing internet and teleco services, right? So I would love to see the team taking it upon themselves to provide us some of these graphics that do some of these in-depth comparisons. I did want to
Hey,
quickly
Freed,
add, yeah,
we
yeah,
can
go ahead.
add to that real quick, because we don't have numbers from the team yet. But if you look at some of the previous posts that Mav 100 has posted, they go around to these testing sites and they get they connect to the air nodes that they are testing out, and they do speed checks. And you see anything from 15 or 20 megabits per second up to 35, 40, 50. So I would say check out Mav 100 because they're actually doing this with air nodes in a place that has limited to no connectivity, and everything that's going through Mav 100 is on their phones for the internet speeds. That is because of their air node. So that'll be interesting to see what data comes out with that.
And one more thing I want to jump in and add to this conversation is an air node essentially is just a radio, right? That propagates signal. So it really will depend on the type of backhaul that the radio uses, right? The air node. So if you're using Starlink as backhaul, right, and you're propagating that signal, then your download and upload speed will depend on whatever the Starlink provides you, right? So if you're using, for example, it ran out of my head, a backhaul, right? Shoot, I forgot the word. Never mind. So yeah, if you're using Starlink, that will be your backhaul essentially. If you're using any type of other backhaul method, then that will be the speed of the air node. So that's where I was trying to get with this is whatever backhaul method you're using, that would be the download speed from the air node.
Thank you both for the clarification. As we just kind of keep things moving along, I did want to respond to a couple of things that Rob had mentioned earlier. One of them was about the emergency situations, right, where there might be some sort of hurricane, tornado, whatever the case is, and World Mobile's able to just kind of jump in and utilize something like Scan for Points in order to figure out, how do we provide the most value in terms of reconnecting and kind of putting things back to the shape that they were in before whatever natural disaster came into. I think of some of the people that I know, right, in real life that are contractors who do a lot of renovation work and a lot of restoration work around the Florida panhandle, right? So if you guys aren't aware, that's an area that is like constantly hit with a ton of hurricanes, right? This year, we're actually just beginning hurricane season. But anytime that there's a natural disaster, which of course nobody wishes that that happens, but they are inevitable. That's why they're called natural disasters. We have some of these contractors who are able to have work for months on end, fixing up these different homes, etc. And I think that could be a portion of what World Mobile also does, right? Is maybe they have some sort of quick response team that rolls out to these areas immediately after there's a natural disaster. Obviously, once it's okay for them to do so, and then have them begin to deploy and provide services. Very similarly, I'm not sure, maybe Clover because he's kind of on the West Coast where there's a lot of parties and festivals going on. But if you ever had some of these bigger, sort of congested events, it can be very difficult to get reliable cell phone service. I'd also love to see if they could have some sort of quick deploy team that targets these big, multi-million people events to deploy and provide additional service for anybody who might not have the best service or optimal service for those types of things. So just a couple of things I wanted to mention there. One last thing I wanted to also highlight is the fact that wherever they've deployed this second aerostat, right? I mean, these things are huge. You guys have all seen the size of these aerostats. It's not something that you can actually hide, right? So whatever facility they're using to store it at, and then whenever they have it up in the air, there has to be regular people, right, that aren't associated with World Mobile that have actually seen this. So I'm just kind of waiting to see, can somebody maybe connect the dots and say, hey, I live in this neighborhood and I've been seeing this humongous quote unquote balloon or aerostat up around, therefore I'm going to go look around and see who this could actually be owned by. And then maybe somehow they spill the beans to us without World Mobile actually doing the sharing of the location. So I'd love to just kind of see how that plays out. We do have, let's see here, another point that I want to just go ahead and bring up as we keep the conversation moving here, which is with respect to early access for Operation AirNote. So I'm sure that I'm not the only one, but I see a lot of people also posted the screenshot with the email for early access for Operation AirNote. So it looks like Opt-in is right around the corner. I know that there was a discussion surrounding Opt-in as well on the last community space. So maybe I'll turn it over to Rob and Clover to kind of just chime in. Are you guys aware of any sort of additional news surrounding Opt-in or this email that has recently just kind of hit in a lot of people's inbox surrounding the whitelist or the early access for the AirNotes?
So I'll jump in and say that yeah, the whitelist is definitely closing. So I recommend everyone go and join the whitelist by going to join.worldmobile.io and sign up, which will essentially give you an early access code to be able to purchase one of these AirNotes once they go up for sale. And I would assume that we most likely are going to start seeing that by the end of this month, at the latest, for these AirNote sales. Another cool thing that I know World Mobile is working on is updating their AirNote website and their WMT scan. So they're going to be calling it the WMT 2.0, I assume, where it would be a central point where people can go in and purchase these AirNodes and contact these hosts that essentially will be renting their homes or their rooftops on their businesses, and allowing people to remotely connect with them and purchase one of these AirNodes. So exciting times. I feel like the community's been really waiting to be able to finally purchase and own part of World Mobile and the infrastructure through these AirNodes. So I think it's going to be very, very fun to watch that unfold.
Totally agree. Rob, any sort of thoughts or maybe alpha that you can share with us about Opt-in?
Well, I think that getting on that whitelist right now, you basically have the ability to buy first and select where you want these things deployed, whether it's a place where you live or property you have access to, or it's a place where you can be a remote owner. So you might get some choice zones, or however you want to look at it, whether it be by a university or by a zoo or by a hospital, or places where you're going to have larger gatherings. But just if you're not on the whitelist right now, that doesn't mean you can't be a part of this. And remember, right now the test market is still for Reno. So it'll be interesting to see once they open up beyond Reno to other locations. I mean, I have, where I live, I have 2 Division I universities. I have the largest hospital in the region. We have the #1 zoo in the world, and they're all within about 10 miles of each other. You put a Titan up, you're probably going to cover most, if not all of that. You're also talking about a downtown area that has multiple Fortune 500 companies. So you put up a Titan, you put up a couple of choice smaller AirNodes in areas if you have access to them, and now you just claimed a monopoly over a large portion of your city. So I'm not sure if for the whitelist purposes, if it's smart for me to spend my money right now on Reno, if I want to dedicate my resources to my hometown, or another place that maybe I have access to. So, like I said, I don't believe that it's going to be a wide open world map. You're going to claim things like you did with maybe if people are familiar with smart places, cornucopias. When cornucopias comes out, it's going to have a specific pecking order based on how the rarity of your land. This is, I think, going to be a little bit more limited, and then it's going to expand from there. But this will allow you to pick that. So if you're ready to go in this initial test market where we know they're hitting the hardest, the soonest, you get the quickest opportunity to get a return on your investment. You definitely want to be a part of that whitelist in order to get in there and do it. But if you're holding out hope for your hometown, for a different location, you know, you might be on the whitelist. It doesn't mean you have to buy anything. You might see what's going on there, see what's been selected, and hold off, and that's fine too. But you definitely want to have that opportunity if this is something that you are interested in, especially in the near future.
And one thing I want to just go ahead and add to, which again, I think we have to be extremely clear about, and the actual email breaks this down, but I did highlight it here. It says to become an AirNode operator, it is necessary to either own or have access to a property at the preferred location, right? So obviously there's a lot of hotspots, but if you don't actually own the property, you can't just go and just, obviously set up an AirNode there, right? In addition, it does state another option is to connect with a local host and establish an agreement, right? Which I think would be maybe for example, like university, like kind of like Rob mentioned, right? Going and double checking because obviously Rob doesn't own that property, but saying, hey, can we come to some sort of agreement where maybe even the business or whoever owns the property gets a cut, while you also get a cut by introducing them to this revenue model, right? By introducing them to the World Mobile Network, because again, I would assume that there's a lot of high traffic areas or a lot of high traffic properties that aren't aware of what World Mobile is doing. And if maybe you just bring that to their attention, they'd be willing to enter into some sort of agreement where you guys are able to share and both profit from utilizing their location. Now, it also highlights being a remote AirNode operator. And then very lastly, it talks about having an expert actually install, right, the actual AirNode on the property. This has been brought up before. I want to reiterate it. There are so many opportunities here, right, to earn with World Mobile. I think the simplest is by just staking. Clover has a bunch of tutorials about how to do that. The second way is by being an ENO or an Earth Node operator, right, which many of us here are ENOs. If you're not, we'll actually jump into that here in just a second about some of the sales that have just happened and how you can actually pick up one of those NFTs on jpeg.store. But then the third, which is what's coming now, is going to be the Operation AirNode, right? So with this, there's now, I think, new ways to also earn by learning the technical steps to be an installer, right? Which is highlighted there in green in step number 4. But then also even just connecting people in super high visibility spots. Ooh, I apologize. To jump on and provide revenue for World Mobile by installing an AirNode. So I just want to highlight that there. Again, I think there's going to be more details surrounding all these different processes. And I would hope that the team would actually gather some sort of list to make it simple for anybody who wants to be a remote operator to connect with somebody who's going to do the installations on site, right? So that would hopefully give them much more visibility and make it easier for World Mobile to get more AirNode set up, again, by connecting the remote AirNode operator and the people actually on the ground doing all the hard work. We have some interesting questions coming in here from SF Zip asking a lot of really, really hard questions. Can I detail the utility access requirements for an AirNode, such as electricity and internet backhaul? Are there alternative solutions if direct access is not available on land? SF, you're asking, again, some really thoughtful questions. I would definitely recommend that you jump into the official Discord where you can get dedicated help from the team. But if Rob or Clover feel justified to answer these, again, feel free to go ahead and just let me know and I will stop blabbering. Let's jump into, I think, some updates surrounding the ENO NFTs or the Earth Node NFTs. I just saw a post earlier from Clover highlighting the fact that we've just gotten 2 more off of the market. I'm actually pulling up JPEG Store right now. Let me actually pull that up on the screen for everybody else to see. But as it stands, we have, let's see here, 7 Earth nodes available for sale. There it is. And the floor price is now back at a whopping 94K. That translates over to $55,000 US. So again, we're seeing less and less sales, but I think that's directly correlated to the fact that there's less and less NFTs listed on the open market with a whopping 0.7% currently available. So we have the last two that just took place here, one on February 16th, and then one just earlier today. So the listing depth continues to thin out, again, meaning that as more sales take place, we're going to see a faster and faster climb in the actual floor price if there's no new additional sale pressure. Any thoughts that you guys maybe just want to highlight here? Again, I know that we've kind of touched on this before, but it seems like once we get the mainnet launch, we're probably going to see even less than this 0.7 being listed and available for purchase.
Well, I'll just say this: I it was exciting to see that two went in the last 24 hours. However, it's a little deceptive because the person that bought that one for 79 just relisted it for 94. So they're trying to do a quick flip to make about 25,000 ADA. And while I don't want to outright condemn people for trying to make money, because that's what we're all here to do, in effect, that just it feels like you're just trying to rip off the community a little bit. It's happened a lot. I haven't looked at the wallets to see if this is the same person that's done this several times, but um, I hope that the price either comes down so people can get an earth node without getting fleeced by this person, or things take off so much that these are immediately selling for a lot more, because then I think then people would be potentially profiting more as a whole, especially people that have had these and held for a long time. Again, not trying to condemn people that are trying to make money, because that's, in a sense, that's what we're here to do. We're here to help, but we want to be, we want to have our time be beneficial as well. It seems it's deceptive to say we've sold two um, in the last 24 hours, and it's thinning completely, because it's not. Somebody bought it and relisted it. So we have sold one legitimate, one that's for sale for additional profit, and that's a very high price. I mean, this is, if you look in terms of US dollars right now, that is the price that a few people have paid for earth nodes since the very beginning, because initially when people were reserving earth nodes, they got WMT for 20 cents US on the token generation event. And then when it listed in the US, the price it listed on the exchanges to publicly buy it in the US, it was 50 cents. Immediately that shot up to like 93 or 97 cents, depending on what exchange you're looking at. And then that came back down, and people bought on the downside as well. So if you bought 100,000 WMT to be able to hold that earth node, you may have paid more than 50 cents a token at that point, which means you may have paid for the reservation for that earth node, you may have paid more than $55,000, but most people have not. So this is a very, very high amount as far as historically what people would be paying for it. Now you have to also remember there is 100,000 WMT in that earth node, and it's about a little over 17 cents right now. So even though it does say $55,000, there is an inherent value of about $17,000 in that earth node were you to just forfeit it. It's not like you're buying an animal PFP NFT and hoping that it holds its value, against if other people want that same PFP. This actually has token embedded in it, so there is some sort of a unless WMT goes to zero, there will be something that you can resell for just for the token itself. So again, things to think about. You're not going to buy an NFT for $55,000 and immediately hit that forfeit button and sell it for $17,000. It's not going to happen unless you're really, really bad at math. But yeah, so it's nice to know that is there, but it's also, you're looking at this, we're talking historically high numbers. Plus the price of ADA is starting to rise up. And so for selling these things for ADA, the US dollar amount for these are going to go up. So it'll be interesting to see what people's numbers are. I remember when things came out initially, I told my wife, I have a number in my head where I would consider selling one of the earth nodes if I could make this much off of it. And that was priced in ADA at the time. But when ADA was 25 cents even. So now that it's going up, would my number come down if I were to sell an ADA because the US dollar is equal or even greater? So it's things to think about. People have priorities. They're trying to figure out what's best for them. For me personally, for now, unless that number goes up, we'll be on the point that you could retire from your job, pay off your house, do these types of things. I'm personally, I'm not in a position where I'm going to want to sell an Earth node, unless it's for some, if not life changing, direction altering type of money. So for those that are selling it, I'm sure they have their reasons. For those that are holding it, good for you. I believe that I personally believe in my situation, that's the right move is to hold it. So for anyone else that's doing that, good for you as well.
Thank you for the transparency on that, Rob. Before I go over to Clover, surrounding any thoughts about just the ENNFT sales, and then we'll jump into closing thoughts. I did want to quickly just wrap up there with the poll results from earlier about where people thought that the second aerostat could be located. Surprisingly, we have the most voted option being Southeast Asia. That's 40%. We have Southeast or Southwest USA with 37%, and then the South Pacific region with 12%, and then the Caribbean with 9%. So again, that was the wrap up there for our speculation. I definitely think it's in the US, but we'll have to see. We did see a comment from Jeff that came in earlier about how Mickey mentioned that February should be a pretty big month. Hopefully, this is one of the things that we do get to see. And as a reminder, again, I haven't seen a lot of questions coming in directed towards Mickey, but when I do get him on the channel, I'll make sure to ask him about those kinds of details. So if you guys are here watching live right now, make sure to go ahead and drop down some of your questions for Mickey. If you're watching as a part of the replay, go ahead and drop those down in the comment section. We've got an additional question here, which I think sparks up a great sort of break point for us here coming in from SF Zip. Again, SF has been launching great questions its entire live stream. How does the role of an ENO compare to that of an SPO, particularly considering aspects like the necessity for SPOs to maintain a strong social media presence to attract stakers? This, I don't think, warrants any sort of input from the team. I feel like this is one that we can kind of all give our opinion on. So maybe we'll just take a quick minute to do that. But I think this is going to be instrumental, right? Just like it is with SPOs, to have a bigger presence than some of the other service providers in order to kind of get ahead. And I hate to say it that way, but at the end of the day, that's really what it kind of boils down to, right? You take a look at, for example, people that are able to spin up Cardano nodes early on. At the time, there was so much ADA floating around that it was very easy to get stake. You take a look now with what, over 2,900 pools, 3,000 stake pools. It gets a lot harder now, especially when somebody's figured out who they want to delegate to and why they want to delegate to them, right? It's really hard for them to justify saying, hey, I've been delegating with somebody for over a year. I've been getting my ADA rewards. They've been doing a good job in terms of uptime and minting blocks, to where I now want to take my stake and shift that over to somebody else, unless of course there's a huge compelling reason. For example, something like an ISPO or some sort of airdrop which incentivizes them to move their stake. So I think very similarly with ENOs, right? Initially, when everything goes live on the mainnet, everybody's got their infrastructure deployed. There's going to be a timeline where it's going to be, and I don't want to use the wrong word, easy here, but it's going to be much easier for anybody who's up early on to, I think, gain stakers, right? But then naturally, as those stakers find their homes, there's going to be less WMT floating around to be delegated or to be staked with a particular ENO, right? So I think early on, the competition won't be as stiff to launch an Earth node and to get delegation. But as time goes on, it will become much harder. So I think when everybody's kind of settled in, everybody's had their infrastructure running, that's going to be where you're going to want to provide some sort of additional service to make you stand out, right? So I'm extremely thankful I can kind of provide this side of things for me. From a Cardano SPO standpoint, me coming somewhat late to the game after the bull run, where there are established stake pools, with millions of ADA delegated to them, I have a unique feature set in which I'm able to be a little bit more visible by providing content, right? So that I think has kind of played to my advantage, where I'm able to pitch my stake pool to people. And by providing value through my content, people can either choose whether or not they want to delegate. So I think it's going to be a very similar situation where ENOs are going to have to figure out, what can I do differently, or what additional value can I provide, to where somebody who's coming into the ecosystem would value what I'm doing, to therefore also stick to my pool. So those are just my 2 cents there. Maybe we turned over to Clover. He's been a little bit quiet. to touch on this, and then we'll jump into the Earth nodes, and I think we'll go ahead and shut things down for today's stream. So, do you want to weigh in on this question here?
Yeah, for sure. So it's if you compare being a Earth node operator versus a Cardano stake pool operator, there's a few different things that you need to really think about. As a stake pool operator, I mean, you kind of only need like 500 ADA to register you pool and get that going, right? But it involves a lot more marketing when it comes to getting your name out. And like Fareed said, for people like him and myself who are newer SPOs, you're kind of competing with well-known brands and well-known names in the Cardano ecosystem already. So it's a lot harder for you to kind of come up there and market yourself out. When it comes to being an Earth node operator, everyone that owns one of these NFTs, like Rob said, there is 100,000 WMT already, which guarantees immediate rewards once we start ITN or mainnet. So when it comes to marketing, yes, we are going to be attracting delegation, so it's always recommended, but then you are guaranteed rewards with that 100,000 WMT that are locked in on a smart contract. So that's really the biggest difference. On top of that, there's going to be a lot of different value-added services, and that's where most of the rewards for Earth node operators are going to come in. And I feel as people are starting to wake up to all the possibilities that an Earth node operator holds, and this is why we're start seeing all these newer sales happen on JPEG Store. If you really think about it, you're going to be running an entire underlying infrastructure for possibly the biggest mobile network operator in the entire world. World Mobile has pledged that they're going to be connecting 1 billion people by 2030. So think about the possibilities of you being that underlying infrastructure and running all of these value-added services for all of these customers that are going to come on the network. So lots of possibilities there. When it comes to Earth nodes, I personally think that eventually, once the years go by, and once there's a lot of people running these Earth nodes and they're tied up in a smart contract and off the market, well, most likely you're going to start seeing like fractionalizing of Earth nodes. People kind of getting together and wanting to own one of these Earth nodes, so they're going to start becoming more and more scarce within time. Yeah, that's so I mean, SF Zip, you're asking really good questions when it comes to differences between ENOs and SPOs. I personally think coming on board as an Earth node operator in the beginning gives you that edge, kind of in a way where stake pool operators had. Another thing that I kind of wanted to mention is that Cardano SPOs, like Cardano, it's a permissionless network. So essentially you can, spin up as many pools as you really want to. I mean, no one's there to stop you to do it, I mean, I'm a single stake pool operator, so and I believe in decentralization, and I want the network to stay as decentralized as possible. But again, it's a permissionless network, and anyone can spin up a pool. And there's not like a max amount of pools that there can be in the network versus World Mobile. There's only 1,000 of us, and for the foreseeable future. So we all get to share all of these rewards between each other. So I think the gains would be much higher, but that obviously that's just my opinion. It's not financial advice. And what you're sharing right there on the screen, that's a really good chart. That's I don't know if a lot of people know, but that's just part one of the inflation rewards where we're going to start seeing. So this is basically a chart where it kind of highlights what type of rewards you could expect to earn from owning an Earth node, just from inflation rewards and from people coming to stake to your node. And from what you can see on this chart, these 100,000 WMT are included. So even if you have only that 100,000 WMT and you have zero marketing skills and you don't feel like opening up an X account and doing, you know, YouTube videos like Fareed does and keeps the community updated, then you're still going to be earning these rewards. So I think a lot of people realize that, and this is why we're seeing these prices on these Earth notes. There is going to be a part 2 documentation that's being worked on. I think it's going to be released closer to ITN, possibly mainnet, where people are going to get the full picture of how much we're expected to make through these value added services. And again, there's going to be so many different value added services. Like if you can open up the roadmap, you'll see that there's like a VPN as a service module that's being built right now, the telecommunication module as well. Storage as a service is another one that's going to be pretty big. That's going to be very interesting to see. So lots of different ways that you can earn as an Earth node operator.
Well, and then as well, if you look at that chart that Fareed posted, that specifically is if you have 165, that's all things being equal, every Earth node's in operation. Each Earth node has 165,000 WMT staked to their thing. If you look at delegated WMT per ENO, so that's 100,000 that's in the Earth node NFT, and then 165,000 a piece. And if you scroll down, there's another chart where that number is 0, and you'll see that the number in red is different for the different charts. It just depends. And these are just kind of some cookie cutter things to say, look, you're gonna profit if you don't have anything in your Earth node as far as delegation goes. The more delegation you have, the better the margins are going to be for both you and the delegation as well. Your pool will be rewarded more. But the other thing is, though, you have to remember there has to be uptime. If you are not producing properly, it doesn't matter if you have 8 million WMT staked and delegated to your Earth node. You have to be able to maintain and operate this. And so there's a lot that goes into it. And Cal was talking about value added services. Another thing that they're doing is they're opening up the IA chain. The Earth node's going to be the only one conducting business on the IA chain as far as settlement layers, writing things to the blockchain. But the Earth node is going to be receiving from potentially multiple avenues, not just World Mobile. Minutes Network has already come out and said we are exclusively using the IA chain. There's other mobile network operators, other companies that want to come on. They want to use the blockchain, but they don't want to invest in building their own. And so World Mobile is going to be opening up the IA chain to these other companies to come in. And they're not going to do it for free. They're going to charge them, and they're going to pay the Earth node operators for helping operate these different facets from these other companies. And there will be payment for that. So there's going to be a lot of opportunities there. It's not just have your Earth node be as popular as you can be, because if that's the case, the reality is Cal's going to make the most money. Rick Middleton, Fareed, those guys are going to make the most money because they're the most popular. They're the ones that do the most. That's not what you want. You want to be able to come in and compete and do things. And the reality is, what do you offer as far as uptime? What do you offer as far as additional services go? Your storage, your processing speed, the different abilities that you have. That's what's going to matter. Delegation is going to be secondary as far as earning as an operator. Now, if you're a WMT holder, you're obviously going to earn by staking. So you definitely want to be able to do that and find a pool that maybe not, it doesn't have to be the most popular one. It just needs to be the one that has great uptime. So you'll be picking your who you delegate to based on who's operating the best. Maybe you have a reason. Maybe they're just like with Cardano. Maybe there's a charity pool that you want to see something go to, or you just happen to be friends with or like the person that's operating that Earth node. But the reality is, it's going to, as long as it's being operated properly, things are going to be distributed well, and this is going to be something that I believe, I mean, I'm putting my money into. I want to be a part of this, and so I think other people will see it in a similar way.
Yeah, this has sparked, I think, some really, really good conversation. I want to just add a couple of things here before we get ready to kind of just take some closing thoughts from everybody. So I do agree, service is king. It doesn't matter, as Rob mentioned, how much you have delegated to you. If you're down 50% of the time, you're not going to be earning anything, right? So that is number one. I think, just as he also touched on, some people are just here for the gains, right? So if the World Mobile team makes it very simple for you to see, okay, who's providing the best output in terms of, for example, yield, which, for example, if you jump into like the Euro wallet or Eternal and you want to go and delegate, it shows you, who are the top earning pools. Where can I earn the most? Some people only care about that, whereas some people maybe care about a mission driven pool where, for example, like what Clover has with his stake pool, right? Where he's donating. And so those different things have an impact. I also wanted to highlight one thing that Clover mentioned, because he dropped some bombs over there too, was the hard cap, right? So not everybody can just wake up and say, oh, I want to go run an Earth node. There's a set limit. Whereas with Cardano, anybody can wake up and become a stake pool operator, right? To get your name out there. So the barrier to entry is much more significant, and the skin in the game is also a lot more significant. As Rob mentioned earlier, each of these Earth nodes have 100,000 WMT associated with it. Whereas on Cardano, you could launch a pool with zero pledge, right? And that is risk that your delegators would be willing to take. So again, I think there's some similarities, but some differences. And then one thing that you brought up there towards the very end too, Clover, was fractionalization. That's going to be crazy, man. I can't wait till we see that day where these are so valuable, where it's really hard to buy one by yourself. You have to team up with people to be able to actually operate in Earth node. So I don't think that we're that far away. I have seen some recent comments actually on my content asking about what the World Mobile team is going to do with the remaining Earth nodes, right? Because if you guys recall, I think there were maybe it's like 40 or 50. I don't recall the exact number off the top of my head that weren't claimed. And so I'd love
127, 129, something like that.
Thank you for the clarification. And what happens with those? Does the team maybe put them back on sale on Ethereum? Do they use that for fundraising? I don't know. I mean, I just feel like there's so much opportunity with that. And obviously, when they get to become a lot more valuable, well, does the team put them back on the market for the original value of what they were back when they sold the other 900 or 800? Or do they sell them for whatever they're valued at that particular time? Obviously, the hope is that they're valued at a much higher price. So just a couple of things to mention there. And then very lastly, if you have enough WMT, you could just go as far as staking to yourself. I know a handful of people that run Cardano nodes that have enough ADA to delegate to themselves, and that is enough for them to mint blocks. I would love to be in that position one day, but right now I've have to ask for the help of the community, and there's nothing wrong with that. But if you have enough, you don't even have to worry about marketing. You're just able to just take your own WMT, stake that to your own Earth node, and you're able to just kind of live, without having to worry about publicity and marketing, etc. So really, really, really great conversation sparked there by SFZip, and we are more than welcome for giving you those perspectives. Hopefully found those to be valuable. So we've gone through quite a bit here. As we get ready to land the plane, before I jump into closing thoughts, I want to just bring up a couple of things that I've seen here. The first is going to be World Mobile TV. So it looks like the team is going to be focusing on just showcasing more of the real world impact that the World Mobile project has had, and just what their mission is bringing into some of these underexposed and undervalued areas. So if you guys are not already familiar, or if you guys have not already subscribed to the official channel, definitely make sure to go ahead and do so. As you guys can see here, I mean, this again just follows people that are being impacted by the World Mobile mission. And the last two episodes have been from times prior. So these are bits of content that have already been posted on their official World Mobile YouTube channel. But my hope here is that as we get more of these rolling out, that we begin to get fresh content showing, the most recent impact that World Mobile has had. So I wanted to go ahead and just quickly bring this up here for you guys to check out as well. We did also have a recent update here with respect to the Deployment Digest. This was released about a week ago, so on February 10th. We have some industry events taking place with the VP of Regulation, Mike, attending some of them. We also have some updates with Kenya, where it looks like they have met with authorities in Kenya to discuss the rural connectivity issues and initiatives surrounding that. We have some testing being conducted in Mozambique. In Nigeria, we have the identification of 400 potential rural homes that could benefit from a solution like World Mobile's. And then there's some updates surrounding Pakistan and US. So I think that'll bring us here to the end for today's live stream. As always, I do want to go ahead and just quickly get some closing thoughts from Clover and Rob. If you guys want to stay in tune with World Mobile and where everything currently stands as a part of the roadmap, please make sure to check out this Trello board. It is linked. I'll try to leave it linked down below for future videos, but it is linked on the official Twitter. But this literally shows you guys in real time as they're moving tickets around where different things are beginning to fall. So if you guys are really wanting to stay up to date with every little move, this is definitely the place to go ahead and do that. As we get ready to turn it over for closing thoughts, again, final reminder, if you have questions for Mickey, please leave them down below in the comments or in the live chat. I'll make sure to pose them to him in this coming week when I sit down with him. Without any further ado, let's turn it over to maybe Clover. You want to begin the closing thoughts for today's stream?
Yeah, absolutely. Just again, wanted to thank everyone that is here every other weekend supporting us and tuning in and sharing all of their questions and their perspectives on World Mobile. It is much appreciated. I know you just had this roadmap on the screen, but the team moved a lot of the different things into private testing and also public testing as well. I mean, we're seeing the browser extension. We're seeing a commercial use of the DID extension, which is actually really, really interesting. The telecommunication settlement, the operation air node matching, and the core node are all in public testing, and they're going to be really released very, very soon. And then we got a bunch of different things moved over to private testing. So lots of different things happening in World Mobile. There's so many different things that you can be involved in nowadays, like especially when the whole platform of being able to purchase air nodes specifically remotely would be very, very interesting to see. I don't think we've ever seen anything like this where you can be anywhere from around the world and be able to own part of this infrastructure remotely. So it's gonna be fun to see. You can be involved, with Scam for Points. Eventually, you can become an affiliate for World Mobile, possibly, selling some of their eSIMs and services. You can join the partner program once that's released. That's going to be very, very interesting as well for people that want to jump in and help with installations. People that want to get CBRS certified. I welcome you to do so. It's a very, very simple process. You can afterwards, obviously assist with installs and things of that nature. So many, many things that people can be involved in. So yeah, that's everything I wanted to add. Again, thank you for everyone that's always here and supporting us, and wishing everyone a beautiful weekend.
Thank you, Clover. It's always a pleasure to have you on here. Thank you for being so consistent and dedicated to really seeing this entire mission play through. For the viewers, if you guys aren't aware, they do also run, and when I say they, I'm referring to Rob and Clover both. They do also run a bi-weekly Twitter ENO space. So the Earth Node Alliance is a group of all the, or the majority, I should say, of the Earth Node operators within the community, super tight knit. They break down everything just like we do here bi-weekly. So every time that we stream here, the following Saturday, they are streaming on X or they are chatting on X. I'll go ahead and begin to leave the links to that down below as well. That way anybody can follow the official ENO X account. Now, before I turn it over to Rob, the closer, we have some comments coming in here. This is from Mobile Booster UK. Do you guys know how much each user data cost worth? Like $1 per unique user. I'm not necessarily sure if you're asking if World Mobile is going to be selling user data. I don't believe that they will be doing so. But Mobile Booster UK, if you can maybe rephrase that, unless Rob and Clover understand. I'm a little bit lost there, but I don't believe that World Mobile is actually planning on actually selling user data. We have another question coming in from David Studio Malacca, asking about the coverage extension into Europe. So we highlighted the fact that we have seen a tease of an aerostat within some sort of region where there's palm trees. Could that be in Europe? I don't personally think so, but I'm also not working for the team, so I could be 100% wrong there. But aside from the eSIM coverage, I don't think that there's any official plans of talking about rolling out in Europe just yet. But I would assume that the team is very aware of their need to go ahead and begin to do so. I think that's it there. We have just some nice supportive comments also coming in from the rest of the team. As Rob disappears into the sunlight there.
Rob is becoming a ghost.
Yeah. I want to turn it over to him for some closing thoughts, man. So Rob, over to you, man.
We can't see you, but we can hear you. And you're on mute, by the way. There you
I
go.
don't know what's happening here. I got this thing behind me, and I can't change
Mickey,
the. Maybe this is
Mickey.
a hint from somebody that I shouldn't be. I'm a ghost. I'm like a Force ghost from Star Wars. You know, I'm a
Right.
Jedi that's been slain. Man. So okay, I apologize for that. Maybe this is my angelic moment here. The thing that I love the most about Ghost Chain Rep, I love that. The thing that I love the most about World Mobile is the community. It's the community that we have with each other. It's the fellowship and the community that we have with the founders, with the team, with the employees. They're very, very transparent with us. I'm very transparent on the screen. It means a lot. Knowing that we can reach out and have direct contact with the CEO of a multi-million-dollar company currently, soon to be a multi-billion-dollar company as this grows. We wouldn't be here if we didn't think this had the potential to become multi-billion, right? I mean, that's the reality. They're going to connect 1 billion people. That might mean revenue of $1 billion a month. I don't know. I mean, they have accountants. They have their own thing. But what I also love is they don't share finances with us. You know, they don't talk price. All we know. I mean, I do know that they're in good standing and they're working very hard to increase the buybacks, increase amounts going every month. They're doing a lot. I'm almost wondering if I should turn this. Sorry, it's sun's starting to go down behind me. I'll just keep going. All right. I don't know if they're trying to, they don't want to, they don't talk numbers with us because, honestly, it's what other company's going to do that? What other company, even if you're a shareholder, you have your annual shareholders meeting where they give you kind of a blanket breakdown of things. World Mobile, they share more than we hear from any other company that I'm familiar with. They're transparent, they're honest, they let us know all sorts of inside information, all sorts of things that are happening that other companies in the same space would never ever do. So what frustrates me is when I jump into these chats and and it's always the same 4 or 5 people, it seems like, with a few others that I've never seen before. They come in and they just throw some shade and they disappear. It's frustrating when you see people that don't show up anywhere except in a chat to bitch and moan and complain. And suddenly, well, this hasn't happened. This one thing hasn't happened. Freed, you just showed the roadmap. You go over to that side that says release and you just scroll down and there are dozens of things in there that have happened. You see things that are ready to release. They have a column for that. There's nothing because they just deployed a whole bunch of stuff recently. Public testing, private testing. They're letting us know all these different things that are going on. Oh, they're just delayed. No, they're not delayed. Excuse me. They are doing so much. I'll tell you right now, the guys that are with that aerostat that they're testing out right now, those are guys that have other positions as well, other things that they do. They're doing so many things and they're balancing it so well. They work so unbelievably hard and they put out so much content and effort. It's amazing. And so when I read things where people are complaining about, well, when testnet, when mainnet, when number go up, it's like, shut up. Where are you on the AMAs? Where are you on the EarthNode Alliance calls, the community calls? The EarthNode Alliance is just community members. We started the EarthNode Alliance to bring people together, to talk about things. It's just a Twitter space. We just hang out and everyone comes up. Where are they? They're hiding. They don't want their faces seen. They don't want their voices heard. They just want to be a random person, with super duper courage on the internet to go type things. They're cowards when it comes to facing Mickey and facing the team and asking those hard questions. Now, when you have people who are legitimately invested, legitimately involved, people like Johnny Kelly, who Nico Verbovin, the guys that are actually writing the guides for how to do the test net, guys like Hydrex, actual ambassadors, actual people who show up every single day. When they have something that they're concerned about, when they have something they're not, they need some clarification on, that's when you listen. Those are the people that you listen to the concerns from, because they're invested. They're there every day. They're not just showing up and bitching and moaning and then going away and hiding somewhere else. They're not anonymous. And so look at the community. Look at who just like within life. Where are you getting fed? Who is feeding you? If you're going to pay attention to the negativity, who's offering that negativity? If you're going to pay attention to the positivity, is it some number go up, wacko, World Mobile Earth nodes are going to cost $1 million and World Mobile is going to hit $300 by next week. Is that what's influencing you? Or is it people like Mickey? Is it people like the team who are saying, here's what we're doing, and laying out these steps and doing the work and being consistent with it? We have an incredible community of so many good people. And you look at the people in the chats here. There's so many people here that show up to these spaces, whether to comment on these YouTubes. They show up in the Earth Node Alliance, and that they jump on the stage. They show up and they ask questions of Mickey and the AMAs. They show up at the conventions, at the conferences, at the meetups. They're there. The community is incredible, and I just want to encourage anybody that if you jump on a Telegram, if you jump in a Discord and you see something that's like, wait, why are they complaining about something? Think through what they're saying and consider the source, because it's very likely that the person you see complaining that first time is a person who's been complaining for months, because they have the one thing that they're focused on, and that hasn't happened yet. And I'm sorry, I'm not trying to be negative with my rant today, but it just, you see these things. So much has happened. I mean, look at the scan for points that came out. People are excited about it. Look at Mickey's posting aerostats. That's not the aerostat in Mozambique. I'll tell you that right now. It's not the aerostat in Mozambique, right? They're doing things. They are building. We can't have a blockchain if there's nothing to put on the blockchain. Otherwise, we're just inflating the amount of tokens in the space, which is going to decrease the value, right? And I can go on a total 15-minute rant about all that stuff, and I'm not going to. Things have to happen at the right time. Even if it was mainnet was ready to go right now, it would not be a good idea for a number of reasons. Things have to happen at the right time. We're building Operation Airnode's coming out soon. We're going to be onboarding customers. Things are going to happen, and it's going to be incredible. And it's going to be just this massive wave. And it's almost like, strap in or be carried away kind of a thing. The team has integrity. I can vouch for them personally. I'm a police officer. My job is to go and interview suspects. I've gotten confessions from homicide suspects, from rape suspects, from bank robbers. I'm very, very good at sitting down there and looking somebody in the eye and determining what's legit, what's not, determining character, determining, next steps that they're going to happen that have life altering consequences. I'm very good at it. I've been doing it for 20 years now. I'll tell you with confidence, 90% of my holdings are in World Mobile. It's not because I'm hoping number go up. It's because I believe in this team. I believe in this project. This is where I want to be. The team has integrity. The team has the consistency. The community around it sees that. We've latched on. We're going in the same direction. We're a part of this thing. And so the more we have to kind of leverage that position, we're seeing it. I can't wait. The things I've seen just in this past week, I can't wait. It's hard for me to sit still. Like my brain is going in so many different directions. It's hard for me to even focus because there's so many good things happening. So I will say this: we're talking about community. We do the Earth Node Alliance spaces. We do these live streams with you. We try to do things in person. Cal and I have been working on several things as far as meetups in a number of locations. I'm just going to say a number of locations, but we can announce that we are going to do 3 days worth of meetups at Las Vegas for Rare Evo in August. Rare Evo, it's a conference that's going to be, or convention is going to be a Friday, Saturday event. We're going to be there on Thursday, and it's going to be a, hey, before the conference, come hang out. We're all going to get together as World Mobile community. We're going to be there to hang out. We're going to be there to get to know each other. It's going to be something where you will not need to walk to a conference and spend half an hour or half a day or whatever it is looking for somebody you recognize, because we're going to have a designated meeting point the night before. And then that way we'll be able to hang out just like we did this past year, hang out in person Friday morning, at breakfast, even before the conference begins. You will not be alone. If you're worried about going to this conference because you won't know anybody, you will not be alone, because the World Mobile family is going to be there. We're going to get together the day before. We're going to have meetups every night after the conference on Friday and Saturday as well. And we're going to be there to have fellowship and be around each other during Rare Evo. So I would encourage everyone to consider going to this. We can offer you they gave us a code to save 5% on the tickets. If you want to go to rareevo.io, when you buy your tickets, type in Earth at checkout. Earth will save you 5%. And it's just an opportunity for us to be together in person. This is going to be in the United States. I can tell you that's not the only thing that we're working on. Okay, I can't give any more until we actually have some feet under us for it. But we multiple events in the next 8 to 12 months that we are trying to piece together. And that's just the start. As this thing starts to grow, there's gonna be more things happening, and it's not going to be a Rob and a Cal thing. It's going to be, something that's maybe happening in Germany or something happening in Australia. I saw in the chats that there was a whole bunch of EarthNode operators in Perth, Australia, that were talking about doing a Western Australia meetup. This is happening. We have a great community of people that want to be together, that want to do things. And I'd say, let's focus on that. Let's focus on growing, building these things. Those one or those two or those five people that want to run their mouths, they're not going to show up anyway. So let's focus on everything that's growing, everything that we can do to support World Mobile, be a part of it, both online and in person. And it's going to be a great time. Every time we get together is a great time, whether it's video chatting or whether it's in person. But my highlight from last year, I told Mickey on an AMA, my highlight was getting together and spending time with the community and with the World Mobile co-founders at Rare and at Las Vegas. So looking forward to that. But and I apologize if I took a sour tone there with a few things, but I've been seeing things build up, and it's like, I know what's going on. I've peeked behind the curtain. I've actually seen this stuff. I have this alpha that I'm not allowed to even talk about. And and to see people this week, as I've seen this other stuff, the usual suspects come out and complain about things. It's like, are you even paying attention? I'm telling you, if your eyes are open, if you're paying attention, you're going to have trouble sitting down. You're so excited. So I'm looking forward to all the positive, all the good things coming. And when Mickey says that February is going to be an explosive month, I know we're over halfway through the month. We're not there yet. And so it's going to be awesome. It's going to be a lot of good things coming out in the next couple of weeks.
Rob the Closer. I think we might have to change your name though, man. I saw Rob the Reverend up there earlier. I was like, man, I kind of like that, man. He's preaching tonight. I don't know if it was that light and how it hit you or what, but you did an awesome job as always. Tons of support coming in, not just for Rob, but just for the space. And again, I think this is what keeps us motivated as creators. I'll be honest, it's never easy to, get up and create content, especially this consistently. I think we've missed maybe one or two shows around the holiday season, I think Christmas and Thanksgiving. But short of that, I mean, we've been here every other week in and out. And like I said, Rob and Cal already do the ENO spaces. So they are definitely committed. Really, really, really awesome close out there by you, Rob. I appreciate that. And of course, by you as well, Clover. Thank you for all of your guys' input. I wanted to just quickly end on a note, which you mentioned, which is the community. I showed up to Rare Evo with my brother, hadn't met a lot of these guys in person ever before. And here's the entire gang. Some of these people weren't even a part of the ENO Alliance. they all showed up. Mickey, everybody, they grabbed everybody whatever they wanted to drink. I think they got like the first round for everybody. You know, they really lightened the mood. Mickey talked to everybody. I got some free merch from Mark, hats, t-shirts, lanyards. I'm just like, man, I was blown away. I didn't expect that at all. So I'm looking forward to seeing how big of a turnout it's going to be this year when this is what we got last year. So again, super fired up for it. And I just want to thank everybody for tuning in. This has been by far, I think, one of my most favorite live streams that we've done so far. And I really hope that the community enjoyed this one as much as I did. So we still have quite a bit of people watching. Again, thank you to everybody. We got Everton Azul, we got Sebastian, we got Vincent Earthpath, Wave Nodes, Dre, Dominic Shepard, Jeff. Thank you all, SF. Big shout out to you as well for just asking great questions. Again, we couldn't do this without your guys' support. So that will do it here for today's World Mobile live stream. We'll be going live again 2 weeks from today. Definitely make sure to tune back in. If you guys need your WMT fix between now and then, tune in for the ENO Spaces done on X. As always, if you guys enjoyed today's video, please make sure to smash that thumbs up. It really does make a difference. Helps to get this content out to other members outside of Cardano who are looking into see exactly what we have going on. If you guys want more content like this, consider subscribing to the Dab Center YouTube channel. And last but not least, if you have any questions for all of us here surrounding World Mobile, then please make sure to go ahead and leave a comment down below. That said, and as always, we'll catch you all guys later. Cheers, everybody. Bye-bye.